Hi there, this is Ryan Edel again. In this next video, we're going to talk a little bit about the course policies for the class. You'll notice that the kind of crosswalk symbol, that's our indication for slides that are about the policies. So if you see a slide with this emblem up here in the upper right, that's a course policy slide. All right. So first off, we're going to take a look at the course goals. And unlike a traditional writing class that you're probably accustomed to, we aren't going to focus on any one specific style of writing. Instead, our goal is, that through this course, you'll become better at identifying the different genres that you are writing in. So for example, if you're writing in a history course, you're going to be writing a different type of paper than if you were, say, writing for an English literature course, or if you were going to be writing in like a lab report, for example. Now, with that though, English 145, although our focus is on helping you become a better academic writer, a big portion of that is helping you understand that many types of writing, in fact, most of the writing you do, actually takes place outside of the classroom. So, for example, with Twitter, Facebook, texting, resumes, all of these are genres of writing that you need to, adjust to every time you're in those different situations. And so in order to do that, we do this thing called writing research. In writing research, you study what how people write in a specific genre. Do they follow standard spelling, or do you follow abbreviations such as in text messages? Does your audience expect that you're going to reply with a new text message right away? Or are you instead doing revisions on a paper that your teacher wants back in, say, a week, seeing that there's been significant changes? Now, this is in contrast to the type of content research you're probably accustomed to from most of your prior writing courses. In content research, you tend to focus on finding facts, finding details, and then organizing them to support your ideas. You do that with writing research as well, but with writing research, much of the quote-unquote facts or details are really more focused on how people write. What type of writing style are they using? Which types of audiences are they trying to reach? Why are they saying what they're saying? So it's not just important to look at what has been said or what is believed to be true. It's also important to look at who is saying it, why are they saying it, who are they saying it to. Now with that, there are a couple very fundamental skills which I'm sure you've had some experiences with. First off, we are going to look at outlining and organizing materials so that you can actually plan out your writing and make it more coherent for your audiences before you get to the writing phase. The second part is that when we look at drafting and revising, I want to help everyone kind of overcome the stereotype that you're just writing a draft and you're done. I know for myself that many of the courses I took as a college student, I would do things the night before, and it didn't work very well. So one of the big focus for English 145 is that you'll be working on your materials, throughout several weeks of guided assignments. And so by the time you get to the drafting stage, you may feel that your work is fairly complete, but we're going to go on to the next step where you're going to be reading each other's work and then revising what you've written in response to the feedback you receive. So let's go back to the course policies page real quick. A couple of things that are related: asking questions and participation. With questions, definitely please feel free to ask any questions that you have. That said, there are a couple places where I want you to ask specific kinds of questions. All right. You'll notice when you log into ReggieNet that there is a questions discussion listed for every week in the discussions. Any questions you have about assignments or even about your own paper, about what you should write or what types of resources you might want to look at, please post those to the ReggieNet discussions. My hope is that you'll be able to share ideas with your classmates And if you see a question on there that you have that same question, or you have an answer to it, please feel free to respond. I'm not the only writer in the course. All of us in the course are writers. Now, there are certain types of individual concerns that it's better for you to email me. So, for example, if you're going out of town and you won't have internet, and you're going to miss a discussion post, please email to let me know. There will be makeup work for certain types of posts, but you do need to let me know in advance, ideally. If an emergency comes up, and you've missed a post, or you oversleep or something like that, please just send me an email to let me know. Things like that, you don't need to advertise those on ReggieNet. Now, when it comes to grade questions, I'm actually not allowed to email, say, a letter grade to you because email is not considered secure enough. So all of your grades will be posted in the gradebook on ReggieNet. However, I'm happy to provide feedback regarding why I gave a certain grade. So if you're not sure why you have the grade you do in ReggieNet, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send an explanation. Now, alongside with asking questions, a major part of the course is actually participation. And it should go without saying, I'd like everyone to be kind and courteous and respectful. But most importantly, understand that not everyone is at the same point in their writing. Some of you have a lot of experience with writing. Some of you may not have as much experience. And so if you see someone who's doing writing that you don't necessarily like, typically speaking, that's okay. I know for myself, the writing I do now is much different from the writing I used to do as an undergrad. And part of the course is that all of you will be learning and changing and adapting your styles as time goes on. Now, a big part of that learning and that change is that you are actually present in the course. Now, this seems strange, but there is actually an attendance policy for the course, even though it's an online course. Most important thing, please post to the discussions by the deadlines. Please reply to your classmates. My goal is that we're going to be having a conversation within the course, that your writing will improve through the interactions with myself and with your classmates. So if you do miss discussion posts, it will hurt your grade significantly. A big chunk of the assignments are wrapped up in those discussions, along with portions of planning your projects are wrapped up in those discussion forums as well. So make sure to be present there. Now, something that will probably be a little bit frustrating for most of you at first is that the assignments are very open. I don't give as many instructions up front as you're probably accustomed to. The reason for that is that each paper, each student will be, each of you will be doing very different work from your classmates. What I want you to do, is pick your specific interests. Write about things that you yourself are interested in, that you want to write about. You can choose topics that are related to your major. You can choose topics related to, say, your Pinterest account. You could talk about Twitter. You could talk about letters that you write back and forth with a niece or a nephew. The assignments are very open. And that's the reason why I don't give as much of a grading rubric or as much of a specific set of instructions, because I do want you to have that freedom. But with that freedom, participation is very important, because that helps you figure out how you will adapt your writing in order to meet the goals of the course. Because there are specific types of things that I will be looking for in your writing, particularly with writing research. And since writing research is not something you think about doing every day, we use the course participation to help you understand how writing research works and how you can articulate it in a way that I will know that you understand the course material. All right, and just a reminder, when you have questions on any of these issues, please post those to ReggieNet. I will respond to those pretty quickly, and I also want your classmates to have a chance to see, what's being asked, what's being talked about, what types of things are we thinking about. All right, so back at the course policies, two things here that are pretty big and a bit of an adjustment in comparison to a regular semester. First, I'm going to talk a bit about the time commitment. Because this is a summer course, we're going to be fitting 16 weeks of material into 8 weeks. But it's still a 3 credit hour course. So do not fall into the trap of thinking that this is going to be an easy course. It's actually going to be harder than a typical semester course. During a normal semester, you would meet 3 hours a week. During a summer semester, you would be expected to meet for 6 hours a week. According to ISU policy, if you had a 3 credit hour course during the semester, the expectation is you'd have 6 hours of homework per week, which I know seems like a very large amount of time, and you probably never spend 6 hours per week on every single class, because that would be pretty hard to do. But what you will find is that between the readings, between the homework, between the discussions, we are looking at about a total of 18 hours a week if we're going to follow ISU policy to the letter. Myself, I know as a student, I would not have done as many hours as is specified. In general, I'm expecting all of you to spend between 12 and 18 hours a week working on the course material. Between the readings, between the discussion posts, you will easily have enough work that you could spend 18 hours a week. So if you are working, if you have other travel plans that you are doing over the summer, make sure that you are budgeting enough time for the course. If it turns out that there's a week where you can't budget that time, please send me an email to let me know. So I'll have a heads up, and if need be, we can do makeup work. Now, along with the time commitment, there's an online commitment. Because it's an online course, some of the expectations of the instructor and the student are a little bit different than during a normal semester. So here are some things you can expect from me. Most important, I will have links to the lectures, readings, and assignments for you. It's an online course. If the links don't work, you can't do the stuff. So I will, make sure that those links are ready for you. If by chance you do find, say, a broken link or a page that just doesn't make sense, just send me an email and I'll make sure to update that quickly. I'll also have spaces for you to submit your assignments and to take part in the discussions. Most of those will be on ReggieNet, but a portion of Project 1 will also be on the social media platform of your choice. So say Tumblr or Facebook, or even Twitter. But we'll talk more about that when we get to weeks 2 and 3. Big thing is that as your instructor, I will be easily reached by email, text, or chat. I will be sending you my phone number in the welcome email. Please don't share that out, online or something like that. But if you do need to text me for whatever reason, please feel free to do that. Say, for example, there's an emergency and you don't have access to email to let me know. Text is definitely appropriate. And as an instructor, I'm actually paid to dedicate at least 20 hours a week to English 145. So I will be available. I will be reading papers, reading the discussions, replying, responding to emails. But if you need a quick answer to something, always send me a text. That's usually the quickest way to get in touch with me. Now, as students, you will have some tougher expectations as well. Most important thing: read, watch, listen to the assigned course materials. Because we're not meeting in a physical classroom, I will be posting a fair number of videos. I will use as many YouTube videos as I can, because I know that although reading is important, it is not the only way of getting information across. And oftentimes videos can provide a type of information which it sits in your memory a little better. And so we will be doing that. But we're not in a physical classroom, so I can't actually see your facial expression to tell like when folks are confused. So that's why we have quizzes, why we have discussion forums. And so with that, make sure that you're submitting your assignments and sharing with your classmates that you're actually taking part in this discussion. Because if we don't have that kind of back and forth interaction, then it's hard for me to tell what you're getting from the course. And then alongside with that, please feel free to ask questions, both for me and your classmates. I do want this to be a two-way conversation. So if you're working on a paper and you've hit a point where you're not quite sure what to do, post to ReggieNet what you're going through. I will definitely answer. Hopefully some of your classmates will as well. But finally, to reiterate, it is about 12 to 18 hours per week for this class for the next 8 weeks. So it is a pretty big time commitment. And I expect that as we get into weeks 4 and 5 with Project 1 will probably be the busiest weeks. And then towards the end of the course, weeks 7 and 8, that's when we'll be focusing on Projects 2 and 3. And although those projects are smaller than Project 1, organizing everything and wrapping it up together into a portfolio will take a little bit of time. So kind of look for those surges, sort of like a normal course. Midterms and finals, we're going to have a bit more work. Now, the last part of the policies I'd like to talk about is the issue of plagiarism. We're actually going to dedicate an entire week to discussing how plagiarism happens and how to avoid it. But in the meantime, the general policy is designed to help you understand what plagiarism is, how we define it. First off, we all know that if you present someone else's work as your own, that's clearly plagiarism. Another case of plagiarism can occur if you copy your own work from another course and then try to submit it for credit for this course. Now, I myself have never seen someone do this, but it is one of those issues I bring up because since this is a writing course, I do want you to revisit some of your past work. Because it's a research-focused course, you will be quoting outside sources. And so a big chunk of English 145, a big chunk of our focus is helping you understand how to provide the correct types of citation and recognition for your sources so that you can refer to outside sources, refer to your own past work, and provide new ideas and new scholarship to build on those rather than simply copy them and commit plagiarism, whether purposeful or accidental. Now with that, I do want to point out, I hope the humor here is somewhat noticeable. One of the issues with plagiarism is that it is a bit of a live wire. Academic careers have been destroyed by folks who have committed plagiarism, even accidental plagiarism. With the syllabus, you'll notice I have URLs for all of the images that are showing up in the presentation slides. Now, this image here is from Flickr. Generally, I don't use Flickr because some of those images are protected by copyright. This one, a photograph of a public place, probably not covered by copyright. Most of the other images are from Pixabay, which all of their images fall under a Creative Commons license. As we move further along in the course, you may want to use images from outside sources as part of your project. And if you do that, provide URLs to say where you got the image from. That is citation in the same sense as scholarly citation. With Pixabay, since it's a Creative Commons license, you can use those images for any purpose that you want. And technically, you're not required to post a link back to them. But for the purposes of English 145, I will require you to post a link as part of citation. Part of that is so that it does help me differentiate between if a student has created an image as a way to present material in a new way versus someone who has taken an image and adapted it for their project. You know. So with that, that pretty much covers the course policies. If you would like, though, if you click this button, that will take you to a more detailed breakdown of the policies. It would open in a separate tab, so I won't show that on the video. But something to emphasize is that I am here for questions about any of these policies, particularly plagiarism. This is one of those topics that is not frequently addressed in courses, but everybody's afraid of it. And one of my goals with this course is that you can understand what it is and learn how to conduct scholarship in a way that you yourself will not, need plagiarism to, say, meet a deadline. Or you won't accidentally commit plagiarism by including a source that you forgot was from an outside source. Alright, so with that, I will be signing off, and I will look forward to hearing from you soon.